That's a quarter an hour. And I'm sure all of you can save a quarter an hour. Keep this in mind. We're not assuming you're making any raises or getting paid any more. You can start upping those 25 cents to 50 cents to 75 cents to $1 and so on. But let's just stay with the 25 cents. What if we can do this over a long period of time, over 20 years? See, those little 25 cents an hour will amount to, and let's take a look, $30,000 over 20 years. And that is not taken into account. You will be making more money come 10 years from now, come 15 years, much, much more. And if we live within our means and we have a game plan, we can change our lives forever. And that is crucial. Now, one more principle also we have to take into account is lifelong learning. See, we're going to be learning as we go on by doing, but life gives us experience. And with all the different things that we absorb on a daily basis, as a matter of fact, today, I hope by the time I'm done, you have just added to that list of lifelong learning. I hope you come out with a little bit of information you can use forever. And as you go on in life, you will start to know more and more that can help you. However, one thing we can learn from is not only where life is going to take us, but where life has gone through. See, if we take a look at markets over the long term, we will see that the stock market, did I mention stocks? I know what you're thinking. We'll get into that a little later. But the stock market over the long term has given excellent rate of returns. And that you will see over the long term if you take a look at graphs. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, but upwards. And if we invest over the long term by knowing, through a lifelong of learning, seeing what has happened in the past, we can see with good indication what can happen in the future. Now, who out there has ever heard of Dow Jones? Dow Jones? You see it on TV, right? Dow Jones goes up. Dow Jones goes down. It goes up again. It comes down. It goes up and down. Well, what is Dow Jones? Well, as a matter of fact, I want to fill you in a little bit on Dow Jones. This way, tonight, from now on in, anytime you see Dow Jones, you know what Dow Jones is. See, Dow Jones is very simple. Basically, it's 30 companies across the country, big companies, such as Walt Disney, Coca-Cola, Exxon, Goodyear, Travelers, General Motors, Sears, big, big companies. And these 30 companies represent the economy of the day. Now, what does that mean? That means that the average of these companies either went up or down. It does not mean that any one particular company went up or down. Now, how can we use this to our advantage? Well, let's say that we start saving money. And now we want to, after we find out that the stock market is a good place to invest, we want to go in there. And we're taking our 25 cents an hour to invest in the stock market. Well, if you figure out 25 cents an hour, it comes out to about $10 every week, which is roughly about $40 a month, which is a good savings plan. Now, if you go to a stockbroker with $40 and say, here, I would like to invest, I got $40. What do you think they'll tell you? They're probably not going to give you too much time. However, we would like to go into the stock market because we realize, hey, it has had great rates of return over history, a lifelong event. I want to be part of that. Well, how can we make it work for us if we don't have the millions that many people do to go in? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use the help of each other so all of us can pool our resources together and invest into the market. Now, how can we go about doing that? Who has heard of a mutual fund? Now, do you know what a mutual fund is? Okay. Very briefly, let me explain to you what a mutual fund is. A mutual fund is a chance, an opportunity for investors like yourself and like me who don't have the millions, but we would like to be part of where the millions are made. And what we do is we pool our resources together. I contribute $25, you contribute $40, the other person contributes $50, the other person maybe a few $1,000s. And they pool all this money together and they give it to a team of professional managers. Now, they are handling millions of dollars. Who has heard it takes millions to make millions? Sometimes that's true. But now we have the power of those millions. How? By using a mutual fund. All the investors together, we give it to a mutual fund manager. And what do? Well, they go to the Dow Jones companies, they go into Wall Street, and they purchase a lot of different stocks on our behalf. And what we receive back is a rate of return. Now, with $40, if you take a look at the Dow Jones list, there's not too many stocks that we can buy there with $40. And you know what? They don't even accept for you to buy just one share. So we're really out. However, with a mutual fund, look at the opportunity we have. We can buy into all those great companies of the United States and even global companies. What we can do is basically use the stock market, which, as you can see, through lifelong learning, we can see that it has traditionally done very, very well. And we can use that to advantage. Now, you've been seeing me use 12%. Why 12%? Well, over the last few years, mutual funds have averaged quite a bit more than 12%, but I don't want to use high figures. Taking a 20-year period, very good funds have performed in surplus of 12%. However, I must warn you, there is no guarantee of what the market will do in the future. I can only go by what has happened in the past. However, I feel it's a pretty good bet that you can do pretty well over the long term. And that's why I suggest learn a little bit, investigate. I'm giving you a challenge today. I want you all not only to learn from here, from listening to me, but go out and study, learn, take a few hours of your time to investigate a little more so you can feel very confident what you're going to be doing. There is one major key that I want to wrap things up with as far as the 5 principles of minimum wage wealth. And that is motivation. See, without motivation, nothing will happen. I would love for all of you today to have all the knowledge possible. We know that's not going to happen, not in one session, not over a lifetime do you learn everything. But I challenge you to learn a little bit at a time so you can have more knowledge. See, with knowledge and with hope, seeing that there truly is an opportunity to make money and to change your life, will come motivation. And with that motivation, I hope you utilize all the other principles and start today. Take ownership, pay yourself first. I want to share with you one other thing so you can leave off today knowing that you really did learn quite a bit and you're on your way. Who has ever heard of a simple rule called the Rule of 72? No? It's a very simple formula, and I want to share that with you today. See, we work for our money, yet many times we don't know how our money is working for us. And what I want to share with you is a simple formula you can use so from now on in you will know exactly how hard your money is working for you. Now I'm going to make a few assumptions. Let's suppose that you are 30 years old. Now, maybe that's a compliment, maybe not. But let's suppose you are. And let's suppose also that you are putting your money in a savings account at a bank. Now, what are banks paying for a savings account nowadays? A regular savings. Okay, about 3%. Here's what we'll do. We'll take that number 3 and divide that number into 72. Now, I happen to have a calculator. And 3 into 72 happens to be 24. Now, what does that mean? It means that it takes 24 years, 24 years for your money to double at 3%. Now, what does that mean in actual figures? Let's say a person age 30 has $100 today saved at 3%. They never add anything more. They don't take away any of the interest. They just leave that money there so it grows over time. Well, in 24 years, this person who's age 30 will now be how old? 54. That means that their money by the age of 54 has now doubled. Now, what did they start off with? That's right, 100. So double 100 would be 200. Okay, so now their money doubled in 24 years. Let's take that same person now, who is now age 54, and they want their money to double again. How old will they have to be? Well, let's add 24, and now we have 78. That means by the age of 78, their money has now doubled one more time. And that amounts from 200, which they had at age 54, to 400. Okay, so let's review. 3% they were getting, and we just figured out, dividing 3 into 72, that it's 24 years for their money to double. So they start at age 30 with $100. It doubles by the time of 54 to 200, and then by the age of 78 to 400. Fantastic. Let's take that same person, but that same person utilized some of our principles and learned by doing and lifelong learning. And they took these concepts and they went out with mutual funds. And let's assume that they did get a 12% rate of return. These are assumptions, but let's just see what the difference is. Well, same 30-year-old with the same $100. If they receive 12%, how quickly will their money double? Well, 12 divided into 72 is how many? That's right, 6. 6 years, their money doubled. Well, let's take a look at actual numbers. Let's see what these numbers actually represent. Same person, age 30. In 6 years, they're 36. Their money now doubles from 100 to 200. In another 6 years, they are 42. Now the 200 doubles to 400. 6 more years, 48. The 4 now doubles to 800. Another 6 years, money keeps doubling. All we have now is money building interest, compounding, growing over time, just like a snowball going down a hill, just accumulating. At age 54, the 800 turns into 1,600. Money is growing fast now. Age 60, the 1,600 turns into 3,200. Keep in mind, this is a $100 lump sum, never added any more money. It's already up to 3,200. In another 6 years, age 66, the money doubles from 3,200 to 6,400. 6 more years pass by, and now this person is age 72. 6,400 turns into $12,800. And the last 6 years, just to complete it at the same age as the person at 3%. Well, same age of 78, those 12,800 double one more time to a total of over $25,000. That is from $100 doubled to $25,000 over time. Now this person would be smart to utilize urgency. The quicker you start, the more you're going to have in the future. And probably they would have to take ownership of investing those $100. Because if you wait around till everything gets done to invest it, probably will never get to it. We're pretty much winding down. And I don't want to wind down on a bad note, but I do want to make you aware of what is going on across America. This is the greatest country in the world. We know that. People come to this country. Very few leave. But however, there are some sad statistics that happen. And I want to share them with you to alert you that we must limit any other bill you ever have. And we use lifelong learning from what has happened in the past, along with take responsibility of our lives and do something now so we will not become a statistic. See, if we take people who are 30 today and we find out where they're going to be at age 65, 100 people now at age 65, where do you think they are? How are they? Think about that. How many are financially independent? How many are still working? How many are broke? How many are still dependent? A few, unfortunately, have passed away. Statistics show that. Where would you be? Let's take a look at those numbers. Pretty alarming, right? Only the last two columns, 4 are independent, which means they have money that they don't depend on the government nor on sons or daughters to help them out. And 1 is rich. However, take a look at the rest. See, the 6 that are dead, unfortunately, that's something we cannot control, or the 8 that are disabled. But there is 62 people out of every 100 who reach age 65 who are still dependent on some form or another. And 19 are still working to make ends meet. If we start today with urgency and we take ownership in our lives and pay that most important bill every single month, more importantly, as you go on, because there will be new things coming up in the future. If we can utilize all this and have the motivation to know that our lives will be different, we can change our lives. We can be one of those better statistics. I want to leave you off with one last thing. And this is definitely true. I'm sure you realize this. See, people do not plan to fail. No one does. Unfortunately, sometimes they fail to plan. Have a plan. Make your life better. Congratulations once again. You are well on your way. But you're not there yet. With some of these skills, some of these tools, you can truly change your life, your family's life, your future. Thank you.